In this smartphone show, hands-on with Nokia's new devices from their Go Play event in London, also the relaunch of the N-Gage games platform and Nokia Music Store. Plus I've got tips on improving the GPS performance of your smartphone, a plea for help on the video editing front, and my roundup of the top 5 smartphones in the world. Last week was definitely Go Play week, with Nokia announcing 2 new top-end smartphones and a wave of phone services, all under a new brand, Ovi. Devices first though, the N95 8GB is a significant update of the original N95. Adding 8GB of flash memory is a big step, but arguably not as big as quadrupling the free RAM after booting, so that you'll never see a memory error again. And many operations are also much faster. The screen is larger too at 2.8 inches, and they've resculpted the back to allow for a larger 1200 mAh battery. Top stuff, and you'll see the N95 8GB again later on in the show. More innovative is the music and games focused N81, available in 2 versions, a microSD standard variant and an 8GB flash variant, in addition to an innovative touch-sensitive Navi key which works much like an old iPod scroll wheel. There are 2 extra light-up gaming buttons above the screen for right-hand control when the N81 is held on its side for game playing. Making sure that there are decent games to play is the first wing of Ovi, the relaunch of the old N-Gage name as a platform, with games to be downloaded in trial form over the air to most recent and new S60 smartphones, and then purchased also over the air using credit card or operator billing. Interestingly, Nokia are also talking about a rental option where you pay less but games expire after a week or 2. N-Gage will be available in the next few months. Next in Ovi is music, with Nokia not really surprising anyone by announcing its own music store. What was more interesting was the degree of integration. When the music store becomes available, you'll be able to try and buy music over the air, or use a brand new iTunes-like PC client, with all changes and purchases auto-synced between phone and desktop. Plenty of options here, and pricing is likely to be the same as iTunes, but who really knows how successful this will be until tested in the real world. Oh, and all Nokia Music Store tracks have full DRM, by the way, although why they're using 192 kilobits per second WMA files is beyond me. With WMA, my ears stop noticing the difference once I get above about 96 kilobits per second. Finally, there's a whole new version of the free Nokia Maps on the loose, now for all S60 3rd edition devices, but watch out, it's still beta quality, in my eyes at least. Check out the Stub Ovi website for details on what else is going to be included. In other news, it seems that HP is making a surprising and renewed bid to re-enter the smartphone world with the iPac 614C and 914C with 2.8-inch and 2.4-inch screens respectively, both with 3-megapixel cameras, GPS, 3G data and Wi-Fi. Not bad. And Palm OS looks to be making a last-ditch stand with a new Palm device across the world, the Centro, a slimmed-down trio at a much lower price point. Watch this space. With a Bluetooth or even better built-in GPS integrated with your S60, UIQ or Windows Mobile smartphone, and remember you can't currently connect a Bluetooth GPS to an iPhone, you can find out where you are on a street map anywhere in the world, ask for directions to a destination, perhaps even with voice guidance, geotag your photos, log your movements for later overlay onto Google Earth, and so on. But GPS isn't a trivial technology, and there are a few things you should know. When you first power your Bluetooth GPS on, or activate it if it's integrated into your smartphone, take 10 minutes or so to do it properly. Stand with it stationary in an open space that it's got a full view of the sky. The GPS needs to build up a picture of the satellites orbiting in your part of the world, so that it knows what to look for when you use it for real. When you do use it for real, you can be a lot slacker, of course. You won't need a full view of the sky, so a car dashboard mount should be fine. But you can do several things to speed up getting a GPS lock. Remember to activate the GPS as soon as you get in the car, so that it's got some time stationary before you start driving. There are enough complications in tracking moving satellites around the sky and triangulating your position without also having to worry about extra Doppler shifting of frequencies because you're moving too. If your smartphone needs a particular configuration, e.g. with the slide open on the Nokia N95 or 6110 Navigator, then remember to do this. Using a Bluetooth GPS is more flexible, of course. You can squirrel it away in the corner of a windscreen. If your windscreen has a built-in heating element or layer, then the corner of the screen or even behind the driving mirror may be the only practical spot where there's a usable GPS signal. If you're hand-holding your GPS-integrated smartphone, remember that even your hand will block the tiny GPS signals, and it's worth finding out exactly where the GPS aerial is positioned on your device to make sure you keep it accessible. Finally, if your device or navigation software supports assisted GPS, where your smartphone's data connection is used to speed up GPS lock-on times dramatically by giving it a crib as to where the satellites are today, then do make sure to enable this in settings. The data bandwidth is negligible and lock-on times can be brought down to 10 seconds or so. Now, as you know, I shoot the smartphone show mainly on a smartphone, the Nokia N93, although the N95, E90, etc. would also be eminently suitable, also recording at the VGA resolution. But editing the resulting MP4 footage has always been a bit of a struggle. I've been using ULEAD Video Studio 10 Plus, but it's a bit temperamental, and now that ULEAD have been taken over by Corel, I've kind of lost confidence in the product. So, a plea for feedback and help. Which PC or Mac application have you used to edit your N-series MP4 video files? Is there a solution that you'd recommend to myself and other smartphone users? Let me know at slitchfield@gmail.com and I'll share your recommendations with the rest of the world. Picking 5 top smartphones from the gamut that's available now is certainly not easy, especially so when the next 6 months we'll see some really killer devices, which is why for my number 1 pick I'm going to cheat very slightly. At number 5, the Nokia E90 communicator. Yes, this is my own daily workhorse, but even I recognise that it's a touch pricey and a touch specialist, and you can bet there'd be cries of foul if I stuck this at number 1. So, despite a number of rants in the media from owners of previous communicators disappointed by a slightly simplified interface from the 9500, I've been very happy with the E90, currently the most powerful phone-like device, in closed form anyway, that money can buy. The 80 megabytes of free RAM, huge 800 pixel widescreen, extensive application suite, powerful camera and camcorder are easily enough to sway me. And when Nokia get around to adding assisted GPS to speed up the current frustrating navigation performance, I'll be even happier. At number 4, it's the Nokia 6110 Navigator that I reviewed in the previous smartphone show. It's got a fairly slow processor, meagre RAM, unspectacular camera, it's not even cheap. But it's just such a polished product, focusing on one area and doing it brilliantly. The embedded Route 66 navigation software and decently sensitive GPS receiver, along with the high-profile navigation button right under the D-pad, means you're only ever one key press away from finding out where you are and getting home. And did I mention it was polished, with every edge rounded, every port flush covered, and a super slick slide, plus all the usual S60 goodies, music playback and 2 megapixel camera. It's certainly the perfect phone for the open road. At number 3, it's Windows Mobile 6 with the current HTC flagship that I'm going to call the Titan 2. I'll call it that because it's got countless other names and rebrandings, a situation I can't stand. Still, there's no arguing with the package, with consistently improved slide-out QWERTY keyboard, a novel tilting screen for better laptop-like use, and now even GPS is built in as well. Windows Mobile 6 is still too stylus-centric in some ways though, and quarter VGA screens often seem too small. It seems that Windows Mobile has still to make the leap to VGA screens and similar in a satisfactory way. A worthy contender from the Microsoft camp at number 3 though. My runner-up is, you just knew it would be in here somewhere, the Apple iPhone. OK, it's not available in Europe right now and it's going to be hugely expensive to buy and maintain on contract, but the sheer innovation by Apple deserves some recognition here. Despite its current technical limitations and ambitions, the vision of a capacitive touchscreen device that has almost no buttons, needs no menus, has no help screens, and which can be picked up and used intuitively by anyone of any age and any level of expertise is astonishing. No, I don't actually want one myself as yet, but I was sufficiently stunned by my own week's hands-on with the iPhone that I penned this editorial on all about Symbian. I've seen the future and it looks a lot like an iPhone. Judging from Nokia letting us glimpse their iPhone-inspired interface of the future, it seems that they agree too. Kudos to Apple on almost every front. But at number 1, it has to be the most densely packed few cubic centimetres of technology that I've ever held in my hands. And it's gorgeous as well. It's the Nokia N95, but not the original, which was flawed in having limited RAM, causing memory errors, applications closing down in the background, and poor battery life. I'm talking about the black 8GB model, announced last week and mentioned in the news section. This fixes the 2 big flaws in the original and adds a larger screen with incredible luminosity. My eyes were just fixated on its display. And 8GB of flash storage, of course. All the standout features of the original are here as well, with 5 megapixel professional camera, VGA camcording, built-in GPS, now assisted, of course, TV out functions, loud loudspeakers, HSDPA, the spec list goes on and on. And did I mention that it's going to be blacker than Hot Black Desiato's sun diving stunt ship? If you'd like to see a specific top 5, such as the best value, smallest, whatever, then drop me an email.
you.